everyone, it's Sean here from Worldwide Bread Show, and I am back. I just did a video a little bit ago that I will put out today, and then the one you're seeing right now, I'll put out tomorrow. The one I put out today was about our manager, Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer, and everything going on, and what I felt about that. And so I wanted to do this video as a follow-up video as to potential replacements, and I don't even really want to focus heavy on a lot of replacements. I really want to do a video on why I've always, since we've had Jose, why I wanted Mauricio Pochettino and why I think Pochettino is a great fit at United. Now, there are other people I would not mind having. There are a lot of other guys who could do a great job. And there are some names I want to throw out there that I wouldn't mind having as our manager. Obviously, the man on everyone's lips besides Poch is Julian Nagelsmann. I think yet Nagelsmann would be a great signing as a manager. He's ready to take that next step, but maybe too soon to go from a club like Leipzig to the Premier League to a United. However, I wouldn't cry about that. His managing style is awesome. He improves players. He coaches some crazy stuff. He's tactically fluid. And he's surely going to be around a long time as a star manager in this game. So I wouldn't mind Nagelsmann at all. Also, I wouldn't mind Ten Hag from Ajax. I think that he would be a great replacement. Who else would I see us getting besides those two? Potentially Max Allegri is a name on a lot of people's lips. Allegri does concern me because he's only, people say, well, he's been successful. He's been successful at Juventus, where everyone is successful in Italy. And the Italian game is much different than the English game if you watch. Allegri is a good coach. I know he wants the United job. He's not my first choice because many times if you watch Allegri's system and teams, he can go very, very defensive and play a certain style that I don't know if we want to see that again after what we've been dealing with Jose and Ollie. So again, I wouldn't cry about Allegri. He's got pedigree. He's not one of my top three choices. However, like I said, do I think he's a better manager than Ollie? Of course. So we have Nagelsmann, who a lot of people would love to have. I would love to have Nagelsmann. No problem with that. Ten Hag, I think, would be a great manager. You have Allegri. Who else would people have talked about? I've heard people say they want Laurent Blanc. Don't know about that. Don't think he would do a bad job. Just not completely sold. There are better options, in my opinion. And then you have, I'll tell you an outlier who is not ready yet, but in 4 or 5 years might be the type of guy we want. He's actually an American, and he's at another Red Bull team called Salzburg. His name is Jesse Marsch. He has shown that he not only has he adopted the Red Bull philosophy, because they have a total club philosophy, he's understudied some great coaches here in the States, and now he's becoming fairly successful and a pretty successful manager in Europe. I believe that when Nagelsmann moves on, they'll move Jesse into his position in Germany. And we saw some clips of him coaching against Liverpool last year in the Champions League. And I think that Jesse has a great future. So I would not cry that if one day he was United manager. I think it might be just an outlier, someone maybe you haven't heard of. But let's talk about Mauricio Pochettino, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because for me, I've said this in videos from the beginning, I'm a Poch guy. I've wanted Mauricio Pochettino at Manchester United since before Ole even became the manager. Now, I've backed Ole. I support Ole. He is a legend of the club. He'll remain a legend of the club. And I shared the last video why I feel like he's done a good job in some areas. And I believe he's built a foundation for someone else to come in and build upon. He's done good in some areas. He has limitations in some areas. And while I have seen enough and I love the guy, it is time, in my opinion, for him to go. I think he should be replaced, but I'm not going to be out here just bashing him, going crazy, calling him a PE teacher, and all that. I'm not going that direction. However, it's time for replacement. Why do I feel Poch is the best replacement? Why have I really wanted this guy for a while? Because I feel like with Pochettino, in some ways, Pochettino, he's elite talent, but he's not fully become elite yet. I believe the next big club he gets is when he becomes elite. So in some ways, I almost feel like, matter of fact, Pochettino, for people that would argue he's already a top manager, I agree with that, but he doesn't even have the CV that Sir Alex had when Sir Alex came to United. And many of us feel like United made Sir Alex. I feel like the next step for Poch is a United. And I feel like that Poch needs United as much as we need him. I think that's why he's waiting. We know that Real Madrid were in for him and wanted him before Zidane decided to just come back. That shifted the landscape there. We know that Barcelona wanted Pochettino and apparently even offered to have Pochettino in, but he said no for a variety of reasons. The main reason was that the first club that gave him his chance and his loyalty was Espanyol. They don't love Barca very much there and vice versa. So out of respect, he said no, but I also think that also the prospect of being managed by Messi doesn't appeal to him because Messi controls that club right now. Case in point, how Messi just forced out their board, which people are saying, well, we should do that at United. It's a different ownership structure to Barca than to us. So it is different there. If we had a Messi in the team, then we could probably get Ed out. Not necessarily the Glazers, but definitely Ed. But we don't. So, and I also believe, Pochettino cut his teeth at Espanyol. He had some good results there. He did okay before he moved to Spurs. His last year at Espanyol, he wasn't doing very well. But he moved to Spurs. And Spurs, before Pochettino, the highest realistically they aimed for was to make the top four. Matter of fact, Tottenham Hotspur had only made the top four 2 times in the Premier League era before Mauricio Pochettino arrived. They were always considered the best of the rest. It was constantly joked about that that's so Spursy. They were infamous and famous bottlers and bottle jobs. And, they were a meme, to be honest with you. And Roy Keane put famously out in his book that Sir Alex pep talk at halftime where he said, basically, guys, it's only Tottenham. That's how they were viewed. And Pochettino turned a lot of that around. He turned them from a punchline into a serious club. So what do we know about Pochettino? I want to talk about some of the good and the bad so we know what we're getting into and why I feel that he is the inevitable choice. He is the Thanos of the United world right now. It is, I am inevitable. Isn't that what Thanos said? Yeah, I think that it is inevitable because there are things that makes him perfect for the job, for us as a fan base, for our club as a footballing side, and unfortunately for our greedy ownership group. So let's talk about it. Pochettino is a very demanding manager. If you watch the Spurs play under him, matter of fact, I read one quote of a Spurs team player who said that Poch broke him because Pochettino, his teams press high, his teams run a lot. They have the most running stats of any team in the Premier League. That's not going to bode well for some of our United divas that don't run a lot. They will either run and become aggressive style players under Poch, or he will move them on. We've seen this already, not only at Southampton, but especially at Spurs. The amount of players he moved out to the players that he brought in. His play style is demanding. He's demanding, but yet he's also known to be very friendly with the players. He's a demanding coach, but yet he can also be an arm around the players' coach. He's kind of a mix between Jose and Ollie, which I think is what our team needs. He's hard, but he's also becomes very close with his players. We could even see that through how many of them responded to Poch leaving during the Amazon documentary. He plays a high press, high energy, but a fluid system. Pochettino is very fluid tactically. He don't always stay to a 4-2-3-1, as some people would say. As a matter of fact, during the year that Conte brought the 3-4-3 into the league the way that he did and won the league with Chelsea. Pochettino's Spurs finished second, I believe, went over I believe it was 86 points. Many times throughout that season, he switched to a 3-4-1-2, 3-4-2-1. Very fluid system. Pochettino's teams are very fluid. They can shift, and he not only has an ability to develop systems and fluid systems. Pochettino's developed players. He's taken players from nowhere to somewhere. He loves working with young players. United is a very young team. We have young players, and some of the players, it's even been rumored, there's pictures of Poch with guys like Palestri. I know for a fact there's a picture of Poch when he was scouting Traore or Diallo, whatever, Ahmad Diallo, Traore, whatever his name is. So he knows these players, and he's worked with young players. He's taken players from nowhere like Dele Alli and trusted them and made them a name. He's taken journeymen who were out on loan, going here and there like Harry Kane, and turned him into the players that he is. He's had Son. He's a developer of talent. He is a great coach and a manager. He's kind of the total package. He turned Spurs into perennial contenders on £29 million net spend and had zero backing incomings and 4 transfer windows. Think about that. What could Pochettino do with a team that backs him, even if they don't back him properly, like our club does? Say what you want. I made it very plain in the last video. I don't believe that Ollie was backed the way he should have been, even though he's been backed. He's been given money. Given Harry Maguire for 80 million, given Wan-Bissaka for 50 million, given Bruno Fernandes for close to 50 million. Don't act like he hasn't gotten anyone. He has gotten players. And even if it wasn't the ones he was asking for this summer, I believe that was intentional. We're not talking about Ollie. We're still going to buy players. Poch isn't having a window at United with 0 buys. And so I'd be interested to see what Poch could do with money. I believe personally it would be a madness. Poch is also a very ambitious manager. So people like to call into question some of the biggest concerns people have with Pochettino. I've heard especially, let's talk about the well-known YouTubers, for example. The biggest well-known YouTubers that are United YouTubers, in my opinion, let's just list the 3 kind of biggest fan channels, right, that have concerns. The biggest fan channel, United fan channel, is the United Stand. And Mark Goldbridge, right? And it gets all 3 of these channels I support. I go on all 3. I thumbs up them. I share their videos. I don't say I prefer one over the other. I'm not into all the drama. Let's just talk about the main guys that you guys listen to. So Goldbridge's main concern is that he feels that we've went down this road before, that Poch is someone else's manager, when I don't agree with that. Because the fact is, yes, he's been in other places, but what has he won there? What has he really won? Poch, if he wins, Poch at United will win something. When we start to win things with Poch, he becomes our manager. He needs us to make him as much as we need him to shift us. So that's what I would say to Mark if I was talking to him more than just I used to actually talk to him when I called the old school call-in show, the old Skype show. I used to call in a lot. I was one of the American guys calling the United Stand. I wish he'd bring that show back, by the way. I would still call in. But what I'm saying is that I feel like he's not a retread any more than getting Nagelsmann. What's the difference of getting Nagelsmann to Poch? You say, well, if we get Nagelsmann, we're making our guy. No, we're not. He's Leipzig's guy that's ready to take the next step. Poch has been someone else's guy ready to take the next step. We're the next step. Getting Allegri, to me, that argument holds weight because he's kind of been somewhere else where he's been winning a lot and established. Poch is world-class talent, but he hasn't done it yet. He hasn't really won one yet. And I think that he will at United. He is an ambitious manager. Now, this goes to the next largest channel that everyone knows about is Stretford Paddock, formerly known as Full-Time Devils, ran by, let's talk about the negative voice against Poch there, which is Stephen Howson. So Howson doesn't really like Poch too much. He likes to call him out a lot. And really what he calls Poch out about is his ambition. Housen likes to refer to the quote that a lot of you will probably refer to, where Poch said that winning trophies is about ego. And it's funny because I would ask Steven this if I was talking to him. If I was buying Steven Housen a pint and we were talking about Poch and he tried this on me, which is what he tries on you guys, I would ask him about all the times that Ollie says something in a press conference or Jose says something in a press conference and Housen gets up and says, don't believe anything coming out of their mouth during press conferences. There's always a motive behind what they're saying. So why can't we take the exact same rationale and apply it to Poch's press conference that he was making after losing in a cup competition? I just said to you that Mauricio Pochettino had almost 4 windows with no backing. Almost 4 windows with no backing. So why would he make a comment about going out of a cup competition that cup competitions really don't matter? Let me give you another quote from Mauricio Pochettino, and let's be fair, and then we'll break it down. This is a quote from Mauricio Pochettino about Tottenham. The project at Tottenham is to try to win the Premier League or the Champions League. That is our project. We are after the 2 big trophies. Now, Pochettino came out and said some things and started leaking things about his frustration with the lack of spending at Spurs and the lack of structure payment-wise for his players in such a way that it was known that Daniel Levy is not only a hard guy to deal with, but he's cheap. So they were in danger of losing big players. The project of Spurs, Daniel Levy wanted Spurs always in the top 4. His meetings with Poch were probably this way. Top 4 is the most important thing in this club. So Poch has to come out and defend the fact that he can't field his best team in the FA Cup or the League Cup. He cannot prioritize those trophies because his boss is telling him you have to prioritize the league and how we look in the Champions League. The other 2 things, those are extra. Those are egos. Those are just saying you won one this year. They don't do much for us. That was how the club was viewing things. Poch addressed it in his own way. And in my opinion, him making statements like that was the same way that Ollie and other people make statements. Let me ask you a question. Did Ollie prioritize the FA Cup or top 4 last year? I'll wait. We were in a semifinal that we could have fielded our best team and would have won the cup. But who wins it? Arsenal. Why? One reason why was because we didn't prioritize it. Where are all these people questioning our ambition? Where are these people that love Ollie saying what he did was no different than when Pochettino faced us in the semifinal of the FA Cup, fielded a stronger team, but we just beat him because, we play on the counter. And we play on the counter in big games, you win. So we beat Spurs in the FA Cup semifinal because Poch did not field all of his best players. And when Poch makes a statement, now we question why he's saying what he's saying, as if what he's saying he means from the bottom of his heart. But yet the same people say don't listen to what people are saying in press conferences. I'm going by what I've seen from Pochettino. I believe that Pochettino with a bigger squad would want to win everything. But I believe he will prioritize what his bosses say is most important. He said this, the project at Spurs, our project, what we're wanting to do is win the Premier League or the Champions League. That's what he is prioritizing. So when he says things about all these trophies are for egos, come on, man. You think that Poch don't want to win a bunch of trophies? Everything I'm hearing about him and reading about him and researching about him, he's competitive. He wants to win. He wants to press. He wants to play a certain way. He's on his players. He wants his players to approach the game the same way they did in their youth. He wants them to give everything. He is a high intensity, high demanding, give everything type manager. And I believe he's the type of manager that once he starts winning, he has the potential of his teams to not stop winning. That's why I believe that Poch needs us as much as we need Poch. So hopefully that addresses the concern about the one statement he made about trophies that everyone likes to use against him. I believe that it was just him trying to get a message out there that, quite frankly, he's saying, my squad isn't big enough for me to care about these other cups that you guys say don't matter anymore. You call the Carabao Cup the Mickey Mouse Cup. I hear it all the time. I hear him call the Europa League a tin pot cup and a what do they call it? I hear all kinds of things. So the fact is, Tottenham didn't have a big enough squad or enough backing in the transfer market to take 4 competitions serious and make top 4. They weren't good enough or big enough. They're Spurs. But he still kept them competitive. Now, the third largest channel that I like to follow, and I love, the guy cracks me up, is the Football Terrace with Terry. So if you guys that know Terry's concern, I think Terry likes Pochettino, but his concern is 100% valid, is that we are in this hiring, firing, sacking cycle, and we can't trust the board. And the board doesn't have a right to hire or fire anybody because they're a mess. And they're going to hang Poch out to dry the same way they've hung Ollie out to dry and previous managers. We've seen this before. And I agree with Terry's assessment 100%. However, we can't change them. We know what we have. So why not at least have a better manager that might get more out of this team? That would be my answer there. And I think I've even heard Terry admit to that himself. So I don't think that Terry's against Poch. I know that United Stand is not against Poch. And I know that overall at Stretford Paddock, especially Adam McCullough, they're not against Poch. And honestly, I get what Housen is saying. I get what you guys are saying. It concerns me to say we're hiring a manager that doesn't want to win trophies. I just feel like that quote is kind of taken out of a lot of context and overblown when there's been a lot of other quotes that's been given over the years that shows what kind of manager Poch is. And like I said, if Poch had won stuff before and was saying that, I would be concerned. But the fact is, people say, well, he hasn't won anything. Well, no manager has at some point in time or another. The fact is, please, for the love of God, please don't try to tell me Ollie won stuff at Mold, because he won stuff at Mold. You know what his CV in the Premier League was? Relegation. He won at Mold. Mold's, that standard of football isn't even MLS standard. That's like saying that Bob Bradley, because he can win the league here in the MLS, should definitely be coaching Manchester United. Stop with that. Stop using just the trophy argument, what they've won. Well, look what Allegri's won. Everyone wins at Juventus. You would win at Juventus. Stop using Bayern, Juve, or PSG, Barcelona, or Real Madrid as some kind of... those leagues are not England, where 5 or 6 teams can win the league if they get it right. It's not the same. It's not the same. Okay, so that's how I feel about Poch overall. Hopefully that addressed some of the concerns people have. What do I think about Poch? Let's talk about some of my concerns. I'm not concerned about the trophy thing because I think he needs us. And I think that we will be that launching pad where Poch could... At United, Poch is either going to die or become like a Pep level. I'll tell you all I need to know. I was watching a video that the United Stand was doing with Redmond TV, I believe about a year ago, and they were arguing about the manager, and they were laughing at us for having Ollie as our manager. And one of the guys from Redmond TV said this, and it's the guy that hates us. He made the comment out of his mouth. He said, I wouldn't want to see you guys with a coach like Poch. When rivals say that, my ears perk up. When rivals are constantly talking about hashtag Ollie in, it lets me know that, here's the thing, guys. I don't want City having Pep. I hate the fact that Liverpool has Klopp. I hate it. I don't want him there. If they could hire Steven Gerrard right now and he would wreck the club and do terrible, I'd be all for it. The fact is, guys, I think that Poch can do an amazing job at this club. He's either going to do an amazing job or he's going to nosedive and fail. But we've already been walking through that. So let's go again until we get it right. Now, I want to tell you some of my concerns about Poch, because there are some. One of my biggest concerns about Poch is play style. One, because we love flying wingers, and Poch doesn't use that for width. Poch has a fluid system, but Poch, I've heard people say don't play with width. That's not true. He doesn't play with wingers as the width. He actually typically uses his fullbacks to bring the width that's required in his attacking play. That gives me great concern because, as you guys know, Luke Shaw is not always the best going forward. But we do have Alex Telles, so we'll see what he can do. And AWB is world-class one-on-one defending, but going forward, he's no Trent. But who knows? Maybe under Poch's tutelage, he can improve there. Obviously, he would have to improve there because sometimes going forward, he's bad. So, but a lot of times, Poch will send one forward and keep three back, similar to what Jose likes to do. So, my big concern about Poch is that, maybe I'm reading too much into this. At White Hart Lane, Poch had Spurs. That home ground was a fortress for them. They had the best home record. When they were forced to play at Wembley, they struggled. So here's my concern. Did Spurs struggle because of a different setting or a different surrounding, or just because it was a weird situation? Or did they struggle because the pitch was so big? Because White Hart Lane, the pitch was small. It fit Mauricio Pochettino's playing style to a T. High press, high action, shrink the field. It worked well. Old Trafford is a big pitch. So it makes me a little concerned about his play style. I could be reading too much into it, but I am a little concerned that how will he adapt on such a big pitch? And I know, like I said, this is one of my biggest concerns. His play style at our place. How will it work? Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe I'm completely out of order here, but it's just something I've been thinking about. My biggest concern with Poch is that. My other biggest concern is that when you look at Poch's track record, when he's had a director of football, he's been world-class, ready to go next level. When he hasn't, and that's my concern. If Poch comes in without a director of football, we're just recycling the same thing we've been doing, but we're starting all over again. Now, I will argue with people that say that sacking Poch is starting all over again completely. It's not, because a lot of the players we have, I hate to say it, I almost felt like they were being bought for Poch because he wanted them. He wanted Bruno Fernandes at Spurs. He was in for Donny van de Beek at Spurs. I already said he's some of our youngsters. He knows them well, and he works well with young players. But I will say this, from statements I've heard him make in the past, I don't think he's the biggest fan of Harry Maguire. That, I will say, is a concern. And I know that he needs a powerful CDM in his system. And we don't have it right now with Matic because Matic is getting older. So I am a little concerned there, but there's something for him to build on. I don't think that going from Ollie to Poch is a complete makeover the way it would be going from, say, Mourinho to Poch. I believe Ollie has done a great job setting the stage for the next manager. And I think that we should celebrate Ollie there. He's at least fought for that. And I celebrate him there. But obviously, tactically, we need the next guy. And in my opinion, I feel like in this video, I've done a good job of at least letting you guys know why I think that Poch is the guy. Again, Poch needs the next step. We're the next step. Poch has spent some time recharging, refocusing, ready to go. He's shown in the past he can work with young talent. He brings through young talent. He can do great things even on a limited budget. A limited £29 million net over his entire tenure. 3 to 4 windows with no purchases. This guy is a Glazer wonderland. They're loving this guy. However, I am concerned if he comes in without a DOF. Poch, I believe, this is my hope, will demand a director of football to take the job. That's my hope. If he does and he gets one, especially if we get Paul Mitchell, who is a Manchester guy. If we could get Paul Mitchell in, who's been a friend of Poch, he's worked with Poch, or Ocampos, someone like that, or even Van de Sar. If we can get someone else to work with Poch, with the board, with United, we could really be on to something amazing. Play style, high speed, high energy, fight for the club, fight for the badge, fight for each other, play hard, the best running stats in the Premier League while he was a coach. What else do our passion merchant fans want? That's what we're looking for. Again, the concern is he doesn't always play with width. When he does, he uses fullbacks, not his wingers. That's not the United way. But who's playing 4-4-2 with flying wingers anymore? Hardly anyone. So what is the United DNA? Play academy players. Bring through young players. Does Poch do that? Absolutely. Check. Does he play high intensity, high press, hard-nosed football? Check. Can he do it even when he has a stupid system above him that's not backing him correctly? Check. What will he do with money? Guys, I just think that it's tailor-made for Mauricio Pochettino. Who else can it be? Who else can it be? Like I said, I listed guys at the beginning that I would take. But for me, the number one choice for our next manager to build upon what our club legend has done for us by refocusing us and getting the smile back, I'm giving Ollie credit. I'm not sending... Ollie has limitations. I've laid them out. I can be irritated with him, frustrated with him, need him to go. But I think that when Ollie transitions out of this job, it needs to be more of a transition than us just getting him sacked. That's just my opinion. But it's time. The transition needs to happen. A big club wouldn't even wait for him to lose the next game. A big club would go out and say, this is the next guy we need and this is why, and make a move. Bayern Munich will get rid of a guy just because he's not fitting what they think, even when he's successful. Ask Niko Kovac. Look what Barca will do. Look what Real will do. These guys. And if we don't grab Pochettino now, he's going to end up probably at City because I think Pep is coming toward the end of his rope there. He's going to end up either at City or he's going to go to PSG. And I think if anything, our club is reactionary. So I think that they're leaking this anti-Ollie stuff out now because they're wanting to see how we respond. Well, if you're at United and you watch this video, I've just given you reasons why Poch is the guy to go for. And here's the thing. You can get him for free. Free. That's good. That'll sound really good to Ed and our cheap board. Free. But I think he checks all the boxes. He checks it for us as a fan base. He checks it for us as what he puts on the pitch. He's going to want to win, and he's going to win. He's going to have a bigger squad where he can challenge more in every arena and in every trophy. Matter of fact, I think he's going to come in hungry and want to win a trophy right away just to shut the people up who say he's not about trophies. I personally believe that. Yeah, I've read enough quotes, did enough research to know he's an ambitious guy. He brings that family feel in. He's stern, but he gives people a hug when he needs to. The players run through brick walls for this guy. They fight for this guy. Believe me when I tell you, a guy like Harry Kane did not want Poch to leave. The truth is Harry Kane's going to want to follow him to United. That's what's going to happen. But I don't think we need that guy. He's made his bed. He needs to lay in it and stay at Spurs. Now, I'll tell you right now, there's a certain Korean fellow down there by the name of Son that would look amazing in that 7 shirt if we're not going to buy Jaden. That's all I'm going to say. Cavani, hand it over. Hand it over to Sonny or to Sancho. But it needs to be handed over. Anyway, guys, that's how I feel about Mauricio Pochettino, why I think he is the guy. I've been loving this dude for a long time. Just on a personal level, some of my friends in North London, I have a couple good buddies that live in North London. One is a huge Spurs fan, and he's always like, bruv, Poch is bad. He's bad, bruv. I hear it all the time. He's not bad in a bad way, but he's a great manager. He's still gutted they got rid of him. And how it went south there, I hate to say it, guys, but I think it went south because Poch realized he had reached his ceiling with the team. And I think that let's face it, guys, we were flirting with him. This turned his head, and he knew it's not going to get any better than this. And the truth is, guys, they should have won that Champions League final. They outplayed Spurs. They outplayed Liverpool, and the Scousers got lucky, and they got a lot of calls went their way. And Spurs couldn't take their chances. Setup-wise, game-wise, plan-wise, everything that Poch needed to do, he done. They should have won that Champions League. I'll never forgive some of those Spurs players for letting all of us down that day because they really, and I believe didn't they give up a pen? They lost by a pen, didn't they? Sissoko or one of them gave up a dumb foul, and it cost them the Champions League. They should have won. And no one would be saying nothing about Poch now if they won that match. Was that on him? You guys like to say everything is on the players. Was that on him? That was on the players. But at the end of the day, we're talking about the Spurs. The year before, topping a group with Real Madrid and Dortmund. They topped the group. The next year, making a Champions League final. By hook or by crook, they made it. So at the end of the day, we are inevitable. The next step that Poch needs. And it's obvious that he's a great manager. Would I be happy with other people? Absolutely. Am I going to celebrate our current manager even as he goes? Yes. But he's not the guy anymore. So let's move on. Let's celebrate him. Let's thank him for what he's done. Let's go back to talking about when he stuck his foot out in 99. That goal he scored. It was amazing. We'll always love him for that. But it's time to move on. And Poch is the next step. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think I said right, what you think I said wrong. I'm a big boy. I can take it. And at the end of the day, let's see what happens. But even if Ollie wins 10 more games in a row, this change needs to happen because this up and down inconsistency is just going to continue. Now, in 8 months from now, if Ollie's turned everything all the way around, we're winning consistently, we're breaking down small teams, doing all this, doing that, we win a cup, and we're second, pushing for a title under Ollie, I'll be the first one to do a video and say, man, I did a video back around November time about Ollie, and I was wrong. I'll be the first one to do it. And listen, I almost want that video to happen because who wouldn't want to be winning everything with Ollie? I mean, that's like romantic 101. We all want it. I just don't see it. I'm not mad, bitter, Ollie out, screaming, carrying on. I don't see it happening. So this is what I'd like to see. For me, it's Poch or bust. Anyway, guys, until next time, like, subscribe, share, get in the comments. Let's stay connected. If you don't follow me on football Twitter, do that at WWReds_show. That's me. That's Sean. Until next time, I'm out, guys.